Okay, if you're a landlord in England or Wales, you are really going to want to listen up. The rules of the game for energy efficiency are about to change, and I mean in a big way. It's going to affect every single one of your rental properties. So let's just dive right in.
So let me ask you straight up, is your rental property ready for 2030? Because, this isn't some far-off problem you can just kick down the road. The countdown has already begun, and honestly, getting ahead of these new standards is going to be absolutely crucial.
And here it is, the big headline. By October 1st, 2030, every single private rental property has to have an Energy Performance Certificate, an EPC, with a rating of at least a C. That's the new bottom line. And yeah, that's a huge leap from where we are right now.
So what does all this actually mean in practice? Let's break down exactly what's changing and, maybe just as importantly, why the government is rolling this out now.
Right, first things first, a super quick refresher. Just think of an EPC as your property's energy report card. It's a simple A to G scale. A is, top of the class, super efficient. G means you've got some serious homework to do. Right now, the minimum passing grade to even rent out a property is an E. So making the jump from an E all the way up to a C, well, that's a pretty significant upgrade.
So, why the big push? Well, the government has 4 key goals here. First, they want warmer homes that are cheaper for tenants to actually live in and heat. That naturally helps tackle fuel poverty. And then, on a much bigger scale, this is all about helping the UK hit its climate targets by making our entire housing stock just better.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. The numbers really back it up. Research from Hamptons found that just by improving a property from a D to a C rating, a tenant could save almost £500 a year on their energy bills. I mean, that's real money in someone's pocket, and it's really at the heart of what this is all about.
Okay, but here's the bit that a lot of landlords might miss. It's not just the target grade that's changing. The whole report card system itself is being redesigned. The way EPCs are calculated is getting a major overhaul. The way it used to work was all about estimated running costs. But that had this weird side effect where it could actually punish homes with super efficient electric systems, like heat pumps, just because electricity costs more than gas. The new system totally flips that on its head. It focuses on 3 key things. First, the building's fabric performance. Basically, how good is the insulation? Then it looks at the heating system itself, like heat pumps. And finally, it's smart readiness, which covers things like solar panels. It's a big shift from how much does it cost to run to how efficient is the actual building. So, this new system is called the Home Energy Model, or HEM for short. And this is not some far-off concept. It's set to start being used for new EPCs from October 2026. You really need to circle that date in your calendar.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the money. What's all this going to cost you, the landlord, and what are the financial stakes if you don't get this right?
The first big number you need to know? £10,000. Think of this as your spending cap. It means you're only required to spend up to this amount per property to try and hit that C rating. If you spent the full 10 grand and your property still doesn't make the grade, that's when you can start looking at an exemption.
And the financial hit isn't just about the cost of the materials and labor. Think about the disruption. A recent survey found that 23% of landlords, that's nearly 1 in 4, expect they'll have to temporarily move their tenants out to get the work done. I mean, just imagine the logistical nightmare that could be. And then there's the penalty. The maximum fine for a single breach of these rules is being hiked up to a whopping £30,000. This just shows how seriously they're taking enforcement. Getting this wrong could be a very expensive mistake.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty intense, but don't panic. The government has built in a kind of safety net. There are legitimate exemptions for when hitting that C rating just isn't realistic or feasible. So let's walk through them.
So, when can you actually apply for one of these? Well, there are a few key scenarios. If the cheapest recommended upgrade is going to set you back more than that $10,000 cap, you can apply. If an expert says the work would actually damage the property, or a surveyor confirms it would devalue it by more than 5%, you've got a case. You could also be exempt if you just can't get permission from the council, a lender, or even your tenant. And if you've literally done everything possible and you still can't hit a C, you can register for that. There's even a little 6-month grace period for new landlords to get their house in order. But, and this is so important, none of these exemptions are automatic. You can't just decide you qualify and do nothing. You have to actively apply and get your property on the official PRS exemptions register with all the right evidence. And remember, they're not a get-out-of-jail-free card forever.
Most exemptions only last for 5 years, and then you'll have to look at it all again.
So with all that in mind, what do you do now? Let's talk next steps, because that clock is ticking for sure.
Okay, this timeline is everything. First up, October 2026. That's when the new, potentially tougher HEM system starts to get used. Now look at that middle date, October 1st, 2029. This one is super important. If you can get your property to a C rating on the current, old system before this date, that certificate will be valid until it expires, even if that's past the final 2030 deadline. After 2029, any new assessment is on the new system. And finally, October 1st, 2030, that's it. That's the hard deadline for everyone.
All right, so let's just quickly run through the absolute must-knows one more time. The target is EPC C by October 2030. The way we measure EPCs is also changing. You've got a £10,000 spending cap per property. The fines for getting it wrong are serious, up to 30 grand. And finally, those exemptions are there, but you have to be proactive and officially register for them.
And all of that really leaves us with the big question at the heart of this entire debate. On one side, these rules could create warmer, more affordable homes for millions of tenants. But on the other, there's a real fear that the cost and hassle could cause some landlords to just sell up, which could shrink the number of rental homes available. It's a really delicate balance, and I guess only time will tell what the true impact will be.